Based on last week's theme, I was thinking maybe the theme for this week could be child labor factories or something along those lines. That could be a fun theme.
Foot binding.
Yeah. You never know. Apartheid, the theme.
Apartheid, the podcast.
Yeah.
By 3 white Australians.
By 3 white Australians. One of which is just learning about it on Wikipedia right now as we're recording. Oh, wow, that's pretty horrible.
On theme with this week's theme, I recorded us a new intro.
Bazinga boys are here to
Sounds like the old one.
all of their thoughts on the Big Bang Theory. Rob has an opinion, Vorn has an opinion, Pete probably has one too. But most of all, Rob has an opinion.
Welcome to the Bazinga Boy podcast, the sexiest podcast on the internet today. Mwah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the sexiest podcast. You heard her right. The sexiest podcast on the internet today. How you guys doing?
I'm still, taken back by that intro. That's all the sexiest accents all rolled into one horrible cultural appropriation line.
Well, no, it's not a cultural appropriate. It's actually... So what happened was, I thought because we're trying to be sexy this week and trying to sell sex. So what happened is our last
Sell
episode.
sex.
Well, yeah. Well, we're not trafficking or anything, but our last episode downloads went gangbusters for some reason, and we can only think that maybe it's because there was some boobs on the episode art. There's no other reason why there would be so much more downloading.
It was linked to Game of Thrones. There was a picture of Khaleesi and some boobs covered in glitter. And I think those two things really struck at the hearts and minds of people out on the internet.
So we've decided to take the easy road and just pander and have a very sexy, sex-filled episode where it's just basically Zoo magazine the episode.
Yeah. And it's amazing because it fits perfectly after our theme of consent.
Exactly. So there was no cultural appropriation there, Pete. What happened was I was like, how can we make this more sexy? We need a sexy woman. And I know, well, I really wish this was a visual medium because there's 8 topless girls right around me right here. They're just out of frame for you guys to see. But the listeners at home, it's crazy. But to get it across to you how sexy it really is, quiet down, girls. To get over to you guys how sexy it is, I thought, okay, I'll go into Fiverr and just pay $5 for someone to record some sexy drops for us. And I paid this girl who does sexy anime voice. She's Brazilian, but she does an anime voice. And the only rules, which is like I do safe for work, I do not safe for work. She basically does anything. But the only thing she will not do is anything that's blatantly racist. But she said she'd do it in 24 hours, and she didn't reply after a bit. So I paid another one to also do it. So here's our first sexy, what shall we call her? Like a sexy drop? Because I've basically sent the same script to 2 girls to come back, and let's just have a look and notice the difference in quality between them.
That's right, Bazinga boys.
That was it. That was what you got for $5.
Oh, I've got way more. I've got also the second person, the second sexy voice for this episode.
That's right, you sexy Bazingo boys.
I like that one. That's the one that deserves the $5.
I love the fuzz in the background. I love the shitty... Everything about that was fantastic.
She can learn so much from us and our professional setup.
We need to start our own Bazinga Boys Fiverr and start offering our own sound bites to people.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll say anything, even racist stuff. So all through the episode, you'll be hearing drops from our lovely, sexy voices. Both of them now. So what's the show about, apart from sexy, sexy voices?
This show is about lighting candles and getting your nipples erect and watching every episode of The Big Bang Theory, feeling sexy about it and talking about it with your friends, as in Vorn and Pete and me.
And being sexy.
Yeah.
And do you know what's the most sexy thing in the world?
What is that?
Confidence?
Boobs.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got a sexy new segment. It's called Who has the best boobs in the Big Bang Theory?
Who's got the best boobs in the Big Bang Theory? Shape and nipple placement. Come on, let's see.
Penny. Penny's the answer.
So hot, Pete. Your laugh is turning me on.
What I recommend all our listeners do is turn that bass way, way up and straddle your lowest speaker.
I think it's...
The ideal way to listen to our podcast is to sit in your living room.
Turn all the highs off and then you cut Vorn out completely.
I'm just imagining some idiot still living at home with his parents listening, sitting in the living room on the speaker, and the parents just looking at him going, oh my god, we gotta do something with this
What are you
kid.
doing? I'm enjoying my favorite podcast.
Guys, let's talk about the episode this week.
Pete, what was it about?
Well, this ties in kind of perfectly. So we just watched season 2, episode 21 of The Big Bang Theory. This is one where we find out that Shelfman split up with Leslie because they apparently hooked up or something and he thought they were dating. So he's all down in the dumps. So the rest of the Bazinga gang sweep him off his feet and take him to Vegas while Sheldon decides to stay at home and annoy Penny.
That's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. I mean, there's a bit more to it. The guys get to Vegas, instantly realize they're getting hit on by a prostitute, and then essentially figure out that, hey, this might make Howard feel better about the fact that he's been dumped by Leslie. Vorn.
So just like Vorn, who's paid women to provide him services, the Bazinga gang enlists the assistance of a sex worker to give Shelfman a girlfriend experience.
These aren't sex workers; they're professional voiceover artists, and the other one is just some British girl
who are also happen to be sex workers.
This was I don't know. I felt like this episode was like watchable enough.
Yeah, it was pretty sexy. Like, so the B plot, I guess, of this one is Sheldon.
It was pretty sexy.
Sheldon decides not to go. And then he gets locked out of his apartment and then gets forced into a sleepover at Penny's apartment. So Penny was watching him fall asleep. I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, I'd agree. Very watchable episode. Nothing special. No laughs from me. Any laughs from you?
Pete, you can't shake your head on a podcast. You have to answer.
No, I was being polite and waiting for you to answer first, Rob.
Yeah, I laughed at Sheldon's milk thief thing.
Oh, fuck off! You're trying to...
Was that the you're the milk thief?
Yeah, but then he was like, I knew that milk carton felt
That
light.
did catch me off guard. I've written that note down. Sheldon, you're the milk thief. Caught me off guard. Penny has a spare key to their apartment, and she lets herself in and takes their things.
Sheldon's reaction was somewhat humorous, but also sexy.
Yep. But then so Sheldon was locked out of his apartment. She went to her apartment to get the spare key, but she realized that she'd left the key in the apartment when she was stealing milk.
There's this joke at the start where they're trying to explain to Sheldon what friends with benefits are, and he just can't grasp it. And essentially the episode comes full circle because as Leonard gets back from Vegas, Sheldon walks out of Penny's apartment and goes, I think I have a better understanding of what friends with benefits are, leaving Leonard to think that Sheldon fucked Penny. Hilarious.
I'd make this probably the most watchable episode out of the 2 seasons.
It's definitely in that category of... if this was on a plane and I was forced to watch it, I wouldn't hate myself as much as the other episodes. Which is a pretty small category.
You know what's interesting? Like, have you guys all been to Vegas?
Yeah.
No.
Well, Rob, you've been there. Why the fuck did they go to the most dog shit hotel / casino that just looked like it was like off strip, $2.99 like shrimp buffet, worst place on earth?
Just because they're dog shit $2.99 people.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, hey, look, if there's slot machines in the bar, must be Vegas.
That's what is constantly kind of blowing my mind about this show is that the actors are on a pretty good pay scale by this stage, but they're just dog shit sets. Like they're just not putting any effort into anything.
Well, did you notice this as well? When they're having dinner, so Sheldon has dinner with Penny. Do you know what Penny was eating? Penny's just eating a plastic container of dip. You know when you get like a capsicum dip or a hummus dip? She's just eating a plastic container of dip. A plastic container of dick. Look at the picture. Look at the picture I just sent you. She's eating dip.
She's eating dip with a fork, and then it cuts back to her, and she's eating dip with chopsticks.
Oh wow, she actually is just eating dip. It's not even just like a standard dip that could be like a yogurt, which she shouldn't be eating with a fork anyway. But it's got the split for like the extra crackers, so she's obviously run out of crackers, so she's just switched it to a fork.
What are they doing? Who goes? This is what she's gonna eat for this scene. Some fucking dip.
It's like, what food doesn't make sound so we can doesn't fuck with the microphones? There's plenty of real foods out there.
Also, in strange choices, a strange choice that Raj chooses to do while trying to act is he's reading a text off his phone, and while reading, he's acting like he's typing. So, just imagine you're reading a phone and then like pressing your thumbs against it while you're reading. I don't know what he thought. He got confused. Like, I have a phone in my hand, so it has to look like I'm doing something. Terrible acting.
Another terrible thing. I don't know if you noticed it, and this is my Pete's nitpick for the episode. Pete's nitpicks. Leonard said Twitters instead of tweets.
Yeah, I noted that. I think that's just to explain it to like the demographic of boomers, 60 and plus, people who are watching it, who don't know might know what Twitter is, but if you said tweet, they'd be confused. So if you say, hey, he's doing a Twitter, it makes more sense to them.
Apparently, like the I hate to say this, but the internet said that they hadn't kind of referred to them as tweets by that stage. So it was a new.
Hey, you looked this up.
It was a brand new platform. I picked up on that one as well. When you asked if I had any nitpicks, I was like, no, because I did a bit of research.
Pete, we're watching it in 2019. They should know better.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
That's right. We're always looking at it through a lens. None of this is sexy, by the way. I will tell you. Way off the deep end.
One thing that I wouldn't say it was a good joke, but the thing that resonated with me most in this episode, and this is the last thing I'll say about the episode, is Raj finds out that the girl he was speaking to was a hooker, and they have a little conversation, and he's deciding whether he should still go with her, and he goes, maybe I can save her. And this really resonated with me, because this is something I've exactly said about a stripper.
Any guy who's been to a stripper's.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is how fucking stupid I was. I was at a friend's birthday, and we ended up at the strip club, and this woman is naked on top of me, gyrating her vagina in my face, and I'm saying to her, I can get you a job at the candy bar at the movie theater I work at. I can talk to the manager there. Where she's probably earning more than the managers there. That's an actual true story of me thinking I can save a stripper. What a fucking idiot douchebag.
Seeing as we are recording this on International Women's Day, I just wanted to say that sex workers are people too, boys. And that if it's their choice, then that's the choice that I'm okay with.
That was erotic.
So, can you explain Fiverr to me? Like, I don't know how that shit
Fiverr
works.
is a thing where people just go and go, hey, I'll do this for $5 or more, and they'll list what they'll do. And you go on and you go, I want you to do this, and you pay them $5 and they do it. And that's pretty much it.
That's unreal. I gotta get on this.
Well, now that we're getting to the end of episode discussion, I think it's time for Vorn vs. the DVD jacket!
It's time for Vornverse, the DVD jacket. Ooh, yeah. Boobies.
Okay, Rob.
So you get to do a segment about boobies, but as soon as I say boobies, it's not funny. I get it, Vorn. Fuck you.
That was erotic. So,
Can we just play that one again? Which one was it?
That was erotic.
I love that. That's my new polyphonic ringtone.
So as you all know, Pete has been giving me clues to try and guess the DVD jacket. This week he gave me all the initials again. He also gave me the names, Howard And then he gave me the end of it saying dumped by Leslie. And I say this every time, but I think I'm going to get this one. And this is a special one because when I started out with it, I was struggling. The first 2 letters are VB, exclamation mark. And I was like, vagina. I don't know. And then I realized if I work my way back, dumped by Leslie F. I was like, was it her last name start with F? I was trying to figure it out. It took quite a while, but I worked my way backwards. So I think I have this except for one section. Okay, so I'm gonna say it to you now. This isn't my guess. I'm leaving out a bit I haven't figured out yet. Okay?
All right.
So here we go. Vegas, baby. Gap. The guys hire a Jewish hooker to snap Howard out of his dumped by Leslie funk. Am I right so far?
You're fucking 100%, man.
Whoa. I missed a gap. I missed 3 letters.
No, but you're 100% so far on that first section.
Oh, phew. Great.
Everything you're there, man.
Exciting.
This is sexy,
This is just an easy. This is just an easy layup. This is like you're gonna win the big game. You're gonna get all that sexy sex afterwards if you just get this
after
one for me.
Vegas, baby, there's 3 words that say ISC, comma. And before we even get into that, the guys don't hire a Jewish hooker. This lends it to us thinking that someone just watches at any point and just comes in and goes, okay, that's the episode. Because she wasn't Jewish, she was acting Jewish. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so in that gap there, all that's left is ISC. And here's the idea of
the first letters are the 3 words that you need to do.
Yeah, ISC. I said it's sort of cheap. Imperial Stormtrooper Corps.
Points to that one.
I googled ISC and it came up with Intelligent Sprinkler Control and International Songwriting Competition. Neither of those, I don't think. But I've narrowed it down to 2.
Okay.
That I think it might actually be, and I'm going to choose one of them because it's kind of a toss-up for me, and I don't know which one it is.
What do you want to wager? Seeing this is a Vegas-themed episode.
I'll wager my sexuality.
Cool.
Here's the one. It's between 2, and here's the one I'm not going with. Vegas, baby. It's Sparkle City. Meaning, it's all glittery and all that kind of thing in Vegas. Meaning, the one that I think it is, for Vorn vs. the DVD Jacket. Vegas, baby. Incredibly salty cum. The guys hire a Jewish hooker. In Sin City?
It is, yeah, in Sin City. You got it, man.
Yeah,
you fucking nailed it.
Dude. Oh! Fuck yes, that's 100%.
Insert trumpets and crowds cheering. Vegas, baby. In Sin City, the guys hire a Jewish hooker to snap Howard out of his dumped by Leslie funk.
It's weird that they had another... It went back to being not exactly correct. I think last week, we didn't really touch on it much. Vorn did say, yeah, that was correct. But last week's DVD Jacket was the first time I feel like it actually told us what happened in the episode.
Yeah.
In 20 episodes, it was the first one.
It wasn't just a random point in the episode. Do you think they maybe got to that? They're like reviewing it and they're like, you better not fucking drop the ball on the next one, guys. We're on a tight schedule. We can't possibly go back and rewrite them. This is going to print next week.
Yeah.
Watch 60 seconds this week instead of 30, and maybe we can get a bit more accurate. It's still not accurate.
Maybe they were just all watching at 1.5 speed.
Did you guys said you were going to this week, did you?
No.
No.
I think you should watch 2 episodes at half speed to make up for your...
would be the fair.
That's that's horrific.
Imagine an episode for an hour. Fucking nightmare.
Alright, we're having a horror-themed episode next.
You guys are so funny.
I got a new segment. It's called Wet, Wet, Wet.
Play the theme.
Wet, 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 wet,
Yeah.
wet, 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 wet. I wonder what this segment's gonna be about.
That's pretty good.
That was awesome. That's like a 50 Cent remix. That was awesome. That was on one of those CD singles back in the day when you're like, oh, I got mum got me a Sanity voucher and I purchased Candy Shop on CD single. And that's the 5th track.
I remember purchasing singles, and they would try and like pad them out with the most useless shit. Like I remember buying the Men in Black single, but then like the other tracks were the Men in Black instrumental, which I get it. Like you might want to rap along to it, but then the other one was just the Men in Black without music, just with lyrics. Like why am I listening to that?
They're just the isolated vocals.
Yeah, just the vocals.
So at the start, I told you guys this is basically this is a sexy episode, and it's basically a Zoom magazine of episodes. And I thought, what is sexier and more pandery than a wet t-shirt contest? So I also told you to get a glass of water. So guys, let's have a wet t-shirt contest. You guys ready? Ready to pour some water over your tits?
Water's ready.
Ready? Go.
I'm pouring beer over mine.
Pour it. Pour it.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Hot. Hot.
I wish we'd known. Vorn, for the listeners, Vaughn's the only one wearing a white t-shirt, and I'm wearing a sweater.
That was purposeful.
Rob, what's the weather in Sacramento at the moment?
It's probably about 5 degrees.
Yeah, sweet.
I got a new segment. It's called
I tipped a beer over myself.
What is it?
All right, what is it?
It's Sexy. You guys are looking sexy with your wet t-shirts. My new segment, by the way, I didn't pour water on myself because I'm not a fucking idiot. My new segment's called Totally Erect. Totally Erect.
Feels very nitpicky.
This sexy segment is about the buildings around the world that have finished being erected. So, Empire State Building, Leaning Tower of Pizza, Kmart, Joondalup. That's my segment, Totally Erect.
Sexy segment, Vorn.
Thank you.
I like her voice better.
Yeah, she was the better of the two.
I honestly thought when you played the very, very first one, I thought it was Krautmeister just putting on an accent.
So did I.
Not that it was actually like a Brazilian like voice model, anime voice model.
She was so nice. She was like, I won't say anything blatantly racist. And then her whole shtick is she does an anime voice. And then she sent it to me and she goes, sorry about the accent. I'm like, that's the whole point, you idiot. I got a new segment. It's called Sexy Stories, I think.
Sexy sex is what you told me.
Sexy Sex Stories.
In the Big Bang Theory, they talk about sex a lot. But in the Big Bang Theory, they don't get sex a lot.
Sexy sex isn't for everyone.
Like the characters of the Big Bang
Theory and for Vorn.
It takes a prostitute for Howard and a passed out girl for Raj. And Sheldon probably doesn't know the difference between a vagina and an ass.
Oh, Rob, that song got me hot.
There's nothing sexier to me than hearing the sexual exploits of another man. And a couple of weeks back, I got this email from a listener named Ron Toye or Ron Toy.
How do you spell
T-O-Y, that? Huh?
How do you spell that?
T-O-Y-E. Ron Toy. Toy?
Toy, I guess.
Whatever. Anyway.
T-O-Y, toy.
No, T-O-Y-E.
You're like, fuck, I'm illiterate and I know how to how to spell toy.
Well, I don't know. Fuck it. Okay. Ron Toy. T-O-Y-E. So he wrote to us like a few weeks ago, and I was like, I'm not going to do anything with this. But then we got this sexy sex episode. I'm like, this is perfect. And it's kind of why I suggested this. So he wrote to us, this happened to me the other night. Actually, I'm going to read this in a sexy voice. This happened to me the other night. And as a listener of your show, I had to tell you. I was at an after-work drinks when someone tripped and dropped their drink. I yelled, Bazinga, and everyone cracked up. Especially this absolute stunner who works across from me. She's giving me the eye all night after the quip, and even though I have a girlfriend, the drinks go to my head, and we end up back at her place, and it was on. Pretty much as soon as we got in, I pulled out my willy and touched it on her rock hard vulva.
On her rock hole. It's my favorite part of the woman.
Rock hole on her rock hard vulva. I felt my testicles tingling, like I'd dunked them in a glass of soda water. It was over quick. I had to thank you guys, as if I didn't throw out the bazing, nothing would have happened. Apart from that, me and my girlfriend love the show and listen every week. So for obvious reasons, don't use my real name. Bazinga regards, Ron Toy. Thanks, Ron. If anyone else wants to send us an email, bazingaboyspodcast@gmail.com. You guys have anything else?
We're 100% confidential.
Yeah, no one listens to this show. It doesn't matter. It's the same as writing it in a notebook and throwing the notebook away. No one will hear it.
Exactly.
Use us like you use a journal, a sexy journal.
A sexy journal, a sexy sex journal.
Do you guys have a sex journal with every girl you've ever slept with?
No. Do you, Vorn?
No.
That's it for this week, guys. See you next week.
Thanks for listening, big boy. Now that you are all hot and bothered, you can climax by coming to our social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and calculatorsub.com. And don't forget to subscribe to us at YouTube.
Don't forget youtube.com/uppercase U, uppercase C, uppercase B, hyphen, lowercase s, 65, uppercase H.
She just sounds like an annoyed teen Brit girl. You know, like, okay, you go over there and I'll come over here. Alright.
That was erotic.
Alright, that was sexy, wasn't it? Yeah. I'll have some fish and chips.
That was the best $10 you've spent, Vorn.
On this show so far, yeah.